band! Welcome back, it's Sonia here, and today we're gonna look at the capo. What it is, how it works, why should you ever use it. So a capo is this kind of a little mechanical device that clips on to the fretboard of your guitar across all the strings. And what it does is it makes the whole guitar sound higher. If I played first for you without it, all the open strings, and then clip it on, let's say fret 3 for instance, you hear that all the strings have moved up in pitch, even higher. The capo is essentially your movable nut. Since it affects the whole sound of the guitar, making it higher, you might want to use it simply to achieve this brighter sound. You can play with it just as if you would play with open strings, but now you just have to count the frets a little differently. So since this is now our new nut, we have to think of the next fret being our fret 1 at this point. So we start counting from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And then the same chord shapes, like G, E minor, are still the same, but they're now just in a higher pitch. If you want to get yourself a capo and you're looking around, you'll notice that there's a lot of different options available. This one here, I would argue, is the most commonly used one. It's also the fastest one. It's this kind of a trigger style capo. But then there's also lots of different kinds. I personally like this one because it's got this screw here that you can adjust the tension of the capo. First of all, when you put on a capo, make sure that it covers all the strings. First of all, you place it right next to a fret and make sure that all the strings ring out properly. If you have one of those that has the possibility of adjusting the tension of the capo, you might want to play around with it a little bit to see if it affects the sound and what do you like best and how it works best with your guitar. Okay, now we know what the capo is and what it does mechanically speaking, but let's have a look at how it really affects the chords that you're playing. Let's say we have, for instance, the E minor chord. If I put the capo on fret 1 and I play the same E minor chord, of course I also have to move my fingers 1 fret up because the nut moved, so I have to move my fingers accordingly. I'm still playing the E minor shape. So what I'm really playing here in real pitch is the F minor chord, even though I'm still thinking E minor with my hands. 3rd fret, for instance, E minor shape, but the pitch went up. 5th fret, still E minor shape, but what I'm actually playing here is the A minor chord. If I take the capo off and play the A minor from here, you'll hear it's the same chord. It just sounds a little lower. Capo back on. Still the A minor, but what this is called a different voicing of the same chord. So I'm still playing the very same notes, but they're higher up in pitch, which means that it's a higher voicing that I'm playing of the A minor chord. So when you're playing with the capo on, you will of course think of the chord shapes that you're playing with your fingers and how it kind of looks and feels to you when you're playing it. You don't need to always know that if you're playing an E minor shape here, it's actually an A minor. But it does help when you're playing with other musicians in a band, for instance, where the other ones are not using the capo and you have to still play the same song and maybe talk about the same song. Then it really helps if you're able to figure out what the real pitches are that you're playing. In order to figure that out, you need to know the names of the notes and where they are on the fretboard. Let's say I'm playing again this E minor shape with the capo on fret 5, and I want to figure out what this chord actually is in real pitch. The way I do this is by finding the root note, so the bass note of the chord. And with the E minor, it's of course the E note. If we were in the open position, we know that the E is of course the thickest string on the guitar. So that is our root note for the chord. But now that we have the capo on fret 5, even though we're playing an open string, it is actually a fretted note. Now we need to know what note that is. And that we can count by thinking of the open string. So the open string would be E, then we have F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and A. And that's how we know that this is an A minor chord. Now the last thing I want to talk about a little bit is when and why to use a capo. First one is that maybe you've learned a song already in, the open position, all the chords and whatnot, and then a singer walks up to you and says, sorry, but this is too low key for me, and we need to make it higher by a whole step. And they're like, oh, okay, but then the chords would change, but you have the capo. So you just have to know what is a whole step. A whole step is 2 half steps, so 1, 2. The capo on fret 2, playing the same chords you've always played, but the song will be played in a higher key. And the singer is happy, you're happy, you didn't need to change or learn any new chords. Another valid reason would be if the song you need to play just goes in a very difficult key. Let's say B flat major or D flat major, where there's a lot of bar chords and maybe you're not comfortable with those yet, or you simply just don't want to play bar chords. Third reason I'm gonna give you is if you're playing, for instance, in a band or with another guitar player, especially if you both have acoustic guitars and you want to play together, if you play in the open position with the same voicings, most likely the overall sound is going to sound pretty muddy. So what you want to do is for the other one of you to keep playing in the open position, and the other one, the capo somewhere higher up to get like the brighter and higher sound. And that way the sounds of your guitars complement each other and you're able to produce a fuller sound together. But that's pretty much it for today. Now you know what the capo is, how to use it, and a little bit of why to use it. Since this is a lot to remember at first, head out to our blog where you can find, first of all, a little cheat sheet of the capo positions and what the chords you are playing are in real pitch, and also another blog post about memorizing the fretboard and the notes on it. They're both linked in the description. Thank you for watching, and if you have any tips or comments, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.